Shooting on bright, sunny days like this is amazing. You stay warm, you stay dry, and your subject, as long as the sun is hitting it directly, looks fantastic. But when the sun is coming from behind your subject and you're struggling for exposure, there are a few really useful post-production tricks that you can use. Enter the vignette. A vignette in photographic terms is basically the corners of your frame darkening. It's associated with sort of old style DSLR lenses, often ones that are being shot with big wide open apertures, and typically it's something you would look to correct out, but it can be a really useful way of drawing attention to the center of your image, or in this case correcting overexposed areas of the frame. So if I frame up here, what I have is this really amazing looking piece of street art. I have the sun coming in and out of the clouds over here, and the effect is basically one of it being backlit. The problem that we have is because this building is so strongly backlit, I'm catching lots of lovely rich tones in the sky here. It looks lovely and blue and rich, but then I'm losing exposure on the front of my artwork here. So I'm going to correct that first. I'm going to tap on my artwork and just drag up a cheeky bit of lens flare across the corner of the frame there. I rather like that. I'm going to tap there, drag up a bit, get that exposure corrected, not worry too much about what happens to the sky in the background, because of course we're going to vignette that out. Once we're there, or thereabouts, a bit more maybe, we're going to snap that frame. Might just catch another one there, just get it really, really bright. There we go. Open it up, and then I'm going to head for my image editor now. And what I'm looking for is the adjust panel. Now the adjust panel has some really powerful tools: exposure, contrast, saturation, all really useful tools for perfecting your images once they're in the can. But vignette all the way over on the end here is what I'm after. And what I get is this bar across here which I can tap and pull around. As I come up, I'm adding exposure to the corners of my image. This is 0, and then as I go back down the other way, I'm reducing the exposure, and you can see that real kind of circular effect that is characteristic of vignettes. Now, we don't want to go nuts here, because if we do too much, it's going to be a bit distracting, so we might just put it back to about there or thereabouts. And it's going to depend, you know, what the difference in brightness is between your background or the corners of your frame and the middle and that kind of foreground is. But that frame looks pretty nice to me, so I'm going to shoot a couple and we'll see what we've got. So for this set of pictures, it wasn't really variations in kind of photographic technique or composition that make the difference. It's all in the post-production. This frame, I think, is a reasonable start. What we've got is a bit of vignetting across the top there that drops the exposure of the sky down a little bit. There's no denying where the focal point is in the frame. It's not perfect. Can't quite decide whether this lens flare on the corner of the image is good or bad or not. I definitely know that this lamppost vanishing off the top of my frame is a bad thing. So a good start, but a bit clumsy. This frame, good example of what happens when you go nuts with the sliders. This is maximum vignette. All the vignette I could get in here with totally dark black underexposed corners. I kind of think it suits the artwork that we're shooting, and this reduction in saturation there as well, I think gives things a really sort of gritty, earthy feel that feels like it suits. It's a bit much for me, but it could definitely be a really good thumb stopper on social media. This image I really like. I really love the subject matter. This is just such an amazing, impactful piece of art, and I really like this composition because we don't have anything really distracting in there. These darkened corners kind of guide you into the center of the frame, and of course this really strong eye contact just hooks you in even more. I must confess to having done a little bit more than just vignetting here. I've pulled up the saturation a little bit, put a bit more kind of red, a bit more tone into the face and into the brickwork there, and a tidy, crafty little crop has just killed off that lamppost that was just kind of lurking, disturbing me in the corner of the frame. But this, I think, is a nice looking one.